Good afternoon. I want to thank the Ruderman family for inviting me here today. My name is Haben Girma, and the name Haben comes from Eritrea, a small African country with Ethiopia to the south and to the north, the Red Sea. My mother grew up during the time when Ethiopia colonized Eritrea. Many Eritreans participated in the struggle for freedom, including my mother. When my mother was in school, the Ethiopian emperor ordered that all schools in Eritrea were to stop teaching the Eritrean language Tigrinya. My mom stopped speaking Tigrinya at school, but at home she continued to practice with her parents. A few years later, soldiers came to the school and told the girls to sing songs mocking Eritrean freedom fighters. These girls had prayed for freedom all their lives. It hurt their sense of identity and dreams to sing such songs. But what's in a song? Is there anything wrong with singing a song? After a few weeks of singing, they decided to stop. Courageously, they switched to singing songs of freedom. And though they spent a month in prison for singing, my mom frames the story as one of courage and resilience. Once she found that courage, she embarked on the dangerous journey to America, walking through the deserts of Eritrea and Sudan for almost 3 weeks. Around the world, oppression exists in many forms. Discrimination based on religion, race, ethnicity, disability. People who face discrimination have a choice, either to tolerate it or resist it. On the surface, sometimes it seems that resisting discrimination is the more terrifying choice. Through my work as an advocate, I've met many students who choose to tolerate discrimination rather than risk retaliation from their schools. But tolerating oppression has consequences. People sometimes slowly internalize oppression, and it hurts self-respect. My mother's story taught me that even small acts of resistance, like singing songs of freedom, can lead to a better future. Though born and raised in the US, growing up as a deafblind student and now a lawyer introduced me to another form of oppression, the information famine, knowledge stored in books in libraries all over the world, and information online is not accessible to blind readers. That harms our ability to get work, to go to school, to learn. We need more people to help fight the information famine, to make sure blind individuals have access to information. Advocacy often begins with a small step, and my journey along this path began back in college. At Lewis and Clark College in Portland, Oregon, I had a great time, except for some problems at the cafeteria. The college cafeteria had about 5 different food stations, and sighted students would browse a menu posted near the entrance, then walk to their station of choice. Since I couldn't read it, I had to choose stations at random. There were some unhappy surprises. For a vegetarian, it can be frustrating to wait in line for 20 minutes to discover they're serving hamburgers. So, after a lot of missed delicious meals, I went to the college cafeteria manager and explained, I can't read the menu, and I can't hear people trying to read the menu to me, so can you send it in an accessible format? He told me, they're very busy. They don't have time to make accessible menus. I should stop complaining and be more appreciative. I don't know about you, but if there's chocolate cake at Station 4 and no one tells me, I'm not feeling appreciative. For the first few months, I tried to tolerate the discrimination. Many of my relatives back in Eritrea still struggled for food. So who was I to complain? I live in a world designed for people who can see and hear. So I figured this would just be one more thing to deal with, like not being able to drive, not being able to watch movies, not being able to walk into any library and open a book. One of my best friends, when she first met me, wasn't sure how to say hi. She was sitting next to me at one of our classes at Harvard Law School, wondering how to say hi. She thought, if she waved, would I see it? If she voiced hi, would I hear it? So she did the most logical thing for a student. She went onto Facebook and sent me a message saying, "Hi, Hub, and I'm sitting right next to you." Facebook has facilitated many connections, and online services have the potential to open many doors for people with disabilities. But the vast majority of information online has access barriers. A study by the United Nations found that 97% of websites have access barriers. The vast majority don't comply with standards created by the World Wide Web Consortium, the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, and the BBC Mobile Accessibility Standards and Guidelines. Advocates have been asking for almost 20 years now for programmers to design their websites and apps for accessibility. Advocacy begins with a small step. My mother's story taught me this. So I thought, maybe those cafeteria menus could be my small contribution towards ending the information famine. I went back to the cafeteria manager, explaining that the Americans with Disabilities Act prohibits discrimination. Public accommodations must provide reasonable accommodations. And if the cafeteria continued to deny me access, I would take legal action. They immediately complied. Everything changed, and I started having immediate access to information. Discovering that the ADA is a tool to increase access, I decided then and there to make it a career. And I went into law school, and for the past 2 years, I've been working at Disability Rights Advocates, a nonprofit legal center based in Berkeley, removing access barriers for people with disabilities. In one of my first cases, we represented blind individuals who wanted access to an online library. And in this very year, the court held that the ADA does apply to online businesses. So tech developers have a choice to either participate in the information famine or program for accessibility. My mother has one final advice. My mother's name is Saba, named after the Queen of Sheba. In Eritrea, legend has it that the great queen traveled to Jerusalem to witness the wisdom of King Solomon. This quest for knowledge produced a son from whom all Eritreans descend. Now, I'm not saying my mom is a descendant of King Solomon. Saba teaches that if you're searching for the courage to sing songs of freedom or advocate for access to information, cultural stories can add that extra magic to help you make the right choice. Thank you.